Before the selling ever began, we're down over 2.5% at the moment on Bitcoin. Before the selling ever began, we started the week off, closing out the week there on Sunday. We started the new week off, and look at what's happening. Again, we're back testing this trend line again. We back tested it here. We're back testing it again, and still may go a little higher. Again, I want to continue to point out, Bitcoin is likely not going to make new highs. As we start the week off here in the weekly time frame, we're starting to see distribution. Now, again, this could change before the week ends, but we're starting to see it. I warned you about the tops at these previous peaks of distribution. We had it back over here at the very top there in 2021. Down here, we've seen accumulation. Down up here, we're seeing distribution. We're being told, oh, no, that's not happening. It is happening, and this is showing you. And again, there's now distribution here. Showed up immediately right when changed over. We'll see if we close the week out that way, and we can go a little higher, in my opinion, high 69,000 area, or even go into the 71,000 area, which is a resistance zone. I told you I thought we would peak in the 68 to 69,000 area. I still think that. Do 68,000, but we can go overthrow it and go overthrow the trend line, which we've now done. Daily chart. And again, suck everybody into believing that we have a breakout, and then you get your rug pull. That's starting now. Still possible we go a little bit higher. The 13 count on the 4-hour chart, which you'll see in this video if you watch it all the way through. Absolutely amazing signals, amazing calls. Currently, Bitcoin straddling along that upper Bollinger Band and turning down off of it. Again, we'll see. Do we get one more push higher? Something like this, as I've talked about, or something like this. That all she wrote. Again, we had that 9 count. I warned you about that, but we are seeing distribution starting. And again, nobody believes that this is going to happen. But I've continued to warn and correctly predicted the 68, 69,000 area rally up to that area. We've now hit it. Now, Bitcoin's 9th attempt to get above the 69,000 area. And again, every single attempt has now failed. We're still in a downtrend. Again, the 2021 resistance area, we have to clear it, and we haven't been able to do it. I told you I predicted the bounce over here at 52,000, 52,000 area, bounce off the midpoint right here. We're breaking the ribbon, so again, going to be watching to see what happens. But like I said, it could be something like this, or something like this, or something like this. It can unfold in a couple different ways, but I do think I'm going to stall out in this area, actually come back down and take out these lows and to test these lows down here. Again, indicators like the MACD, you almost have a Class B divergence here as well. Again, almost two equal peaks. Class B divergence here. Maybe we get one in the most recent price action if we set one up on the RSI, but momentum oscillators, again, some of them have Class B divergences, some of them have divergences, others went slightly higher, like the RSI that I'm talking about in this video. And again here, similar Class B divergence. Again, maybe that's it. If we go a little bit higher, again, you might get a divergence in the most recent price action on some of my indicators. But again, absolutely amazing calls. Signals continue to nail it. It's what I'll be watching for is if we come back down, start taking out the 100 period moving average and the 50 period moving average are at the same level. I don't think the 50 gets back above the 200 myself. I think we'll end up topping here and end up dropping back below it, and I think that will prevent a bullish cross. I have the guts to tell you what I think. I told you I thought we would rally 68, 69,000. Told you we'd rally to 70,000. We hit it right on the nose there. But the bounce off Bitcoin's average price at these lows, signals that developed there. Absolutely amazing calls, bullish and bearish back and forth. Before we started this turn off of the 68, 69,000 area, I warned you we would be reaching it. So again, do we just turn on the Bitcoin price and that's it? Or do we go get one more push higher? Right now we're turning off of the cloud here in the weekly time frame. Momentum's come right up here to the center line. Last time it did that, we rolled over, we had a rally, and that was it. We came right up there to the cloud and got rejection. Here we are, right up at the cloud, the weekly time frame. I told you we were going to get the rally. Momentum signals turn bullish in the weekly time frame, but the trend is still bearish. The bulls got to be able to flip this around, and so far they haven't been able to do it. Now, if they do, that's bullish. My signals will change and I will turn back to bullish. If signals turn back to bullish, it means we're either going up or we're going sideways. If they remain bearish, it means we're either going sideways or we're going down. Absolutely amazing signals. Again, I told you about the bullish signal over here as we bounced off Bitcoin's average price right here. The bullish signals, momentum line turned back to bullish. I told you we could either go parabolic here or get a pullback. We ended up going parabolic, and then I told you about the divergence as it developed up here. The warning signs. This warning sign was warning that, again, a top was about to develop. We saw the other one already give us a pullback. This one was warning. We got the little circle warning an extreme. We're getting that right now. We've had it for a couple sessions, but it keeps appearing, saying, hey, be on the lookout for a top right here, short-term top, and just looking at momentum. Then we got these signals, the arrow here, a little hard to see the arrow there, but again, and then over here, again, we got this bottoming signal, started to rally. We got rejection at the 200. I told you we could go down and we could get the divergence, and we did. Again, that's possibly a neckline for a head and shoulders now. These signals have been amazing. Again, the bullish buy signal here, over here, back over here, and again, these tops and bottoms, again, absolutely incredible signals. And now we're getting another warning of a possible top here. And again, like I said, again, it could be like you get a peak right here. Look at the top right here, and then we went back and we went a little bit higher. Over here, you got it right here, and then you went back up and you went a little bit higher. So again, we could see something like that where a divergence develops on the RSI in the daily time frame. But again, I'll be watching. And here, again, momentum turned down, it turned back up. Momentum here, well, it's turned down. Momentum didn't turn down, but when we rose to a new high, then it turned down. And even right here, recently with this peak I just called right here, again, we corrected sideways, and then we went a little bit higher as well, forming a diversion. So we could see that here. We don't have to, but it is a possibility. I wanted to make you aware of, again, that we're getting a warning signs of another shift in momentum here. Again, we're being told this breakout. Here we go. I told you we'd rally to 68, 69,000 and likely turn. I told you we might get as high as 70, 71,000, but I don't think we're going to exceed the previous peak. I've not seen it. I'd have to go further back on this chart. Now, momentum, bars reflecting momentum are still green at this point. The momentum line is still blue. So again, I'll be watching to see how the topping process unfolds here. But I do think we're in a topping process. That 9 count, sequence count sell signal is likely going to mark this as a top. Like I said, it may not be done yet. We may go a little higher. We'll be looking for clues. Balance of power at this moment is still bullish. Bitcoin's been down as much as 3% here. We'll see. We close. And again, here I have the trending signals, the ribbon, the cloud. Again, this line represents the short-term trend. This line, this blue line right here, represents short-term momentum. This is the impulse line. It's still bullish at this point. So again, we'll be looking to see, did we get something like what we had over here? Just started reversal immediately. We reached extremes here with momentum. Again, we could still form a divergence here in this most recent price action. Here I have bars reflecting the trend. They're still green at this point, but again, got the rally as I was predicting there. Now I'm looking for the top and the reversal to happen. Again, we have a Bitcoin October bull trap later in the week. See volatility if tensions heat up in the Middle East. Israel has said they're going to respond to the October 1st Iranian missile attack before the election. Next week is the week before the election. They're probably not going to do it then. It's probably going to be this week. The 8-day holiday of Tabernacles going on. That ends on Wednesday. Last year, when they were attacked on October 7th, that October 7th was the last day of the Feast of Tabernacles. Kind of interesting. So again, I think that I wouldn't be surprised to see them let the feast holidays end. Again, we had Yom Kippur previously. Now we have the Feast of Tabernacles. And I wouldn't be surprised to see them respond Wednesday evening in the U.S. or beyond into the weekend. There were some delays, as I talked about previously. Now, the leadership in Israel has now approved a plan. Now we'll see if they move forward with that plan. My guess is they'll probably do it this week, not be too close to the U.S. elections, rattle Bitcoin, so keep that in mind. That's why, again, could see some volatility with Bitcoin. Nobody thinks that that's possible. It's likely forming a top here. Completes that, then again, is what I'll be looking for is to come back and take out the lows here and the lows here, and then eventually to come back and take out the lows here and here, and if Bitcoin's average price, and if you lose Bitcoin's average price, you lose these levels at the support zone, then that's going to be the final nail in the coffin for Bitcoin with all of this choppiness and the series of lower highs and lower lows. Watching to see how it unfolds, but again, signals have been calling the moves back and forth. Absolutely amazing. At this choppiness now for 7 months, going into 8 here. Boys just keep telling us, oh no, we're going to just keep going up and up. And I've been calling these moves back and forth. Making incredible calls, making bold calls, telling you exactly what I think. And it's played out very nicely. Well, the Moon Boys have been wrong all year long. Since the March high, they're going to be at 100,000. Again, I've been calling these moves back and forth. Right, with the January rally to the March high, they were right with that as well, but they've been wrong ever since. My signals have been calling the back and forth swings over and over again. The January low, my signals called the rally. So if I decided to become a moon boy and just say Bitcoin's going to go up all the time and missed all the distribution that's taking place, again, I've been calling the tops and bottoms back and forth. You can see the signals, the bottoms here, the tops here. Again, I've talked about all these signals. Or just say, oh, Bitcoin's just going to go up 100,000, 500,000 or whatever. I would be loved and adored. But because I say, hey, Bitcoin, go back and forth from bullish to bearish. And right now we're watching to see who's going to win. Are the bulls going to win? Are the bears going to win? Again, I'll be watching. I'll be watching the weekly charts. I'll be watching to see what happens. Tell you what I think, but again, tell you why I think it. But if the signals turn back to bullish, I'll let you know. Weekly signals. All the weekly signals have turning bearish as we are forming this top. We've seen signals go back and forth. And these are the calls that I've been making back and forth. Well, the Moon Boys have been wrong since the March top. Told us this was never going to happen. Already supposed to be over 100,000 right now. According to the Moon Boys. I'll let you know if my signals in the weekly time frame turn back to bullish, but my guess is that's not going to be the case. Still in a downtrend. I told you we could get a false breakout here, which has now happened, and we'll see if the bulls can make it a legitimate breakout. I've told you what has to happen in order for that to. We got to get above 69,000. We got to break this trend line. We got to clear the previous peak. Then we never need it. We can never drop back below 69,000 again. Got to see the weekly signals turn back to bullish. Somehow manage to dodge a recession. See the dollar collapse. Think about all of this. We'll see if I'm going to be correct here. But the Moon Boys that never saw the sell-off coming. The Moon Boys that never saw the sell-off coming. We dropped 33%. People that told us the sell-off was never going to happen are now the people telling us, oh, we've now had this breakout on light volume, and here we go, which is what they've been saying to us all year long. I say this because, again, I don't care which way Bitcoin goes. I really don't. Flack because I say, hey, I think Bitcoin's topped. My weekly signals remain bearish. Bitcoin could price in a recession. They're not the kinds of things that you say. If you want a massive cult following, Bitcoin Moon Boy cult following. The same thing back at the 2021 top when I was calling the top there. Same people saying the same stuff. They're saying right now Bitcoin ended up collapsing 52% very quickly after the November top 2021, and it ended up dropping 78%. See what happens here. Bulls and bears fight it out, but I'm just telling you, everybody on one side, everybody believes that Bitcoin is now broken out and it's going to go. Usually when everybody is on one side of something, opposite happens. Now, my last couple of updates, I've warned you about a divergence developing in the 4-hour time frame. That's now happened, and still may get one more push higher if we form another reference point of the divergence that I've been talking about developing did set up and is playing out. Bitcoin is down again. I talked about the bullish divergence before it ever set up, before we ever sold off to new lows. I told you to be watching for that. I told you I was expecting a rebound up to 68 to 69,000. What did we hit? We hit 69,000. Why did I say that? as we continue to test 69,000, which is the 2021 top there in November. And we now have another rejection there. What is this? Rejection 9 now, at least so far. There might be 10. But again and again, I predicted the 69,000 area back over here at the 52,000 when signals started bullish off of Bitcoin's average price in the daily time frame. So this is the 4-hour time frame. Again, I talked about the divergence over here. I talked about the divergence here, the bullish one here, the bullish one back over here, and again, now this one. And again, it may not be done yet, but again, I continue to point out that, again, we still are in a downtrend. Series of lower highs and lower lows. I told, oh no, we broke out. Well, it was on very, very light volume, and I talked about overthrowing the trend line, going toward 69,000 for a test. That's this red line right here. And then I told you if we get above that, which we went just above that, you have 71,000, which is a resistance zone. I don't think we go much higher than 69,000 here. I think we stall in this area. Maybe we make it to 70 or 71,000. As I've continued to say for a very long time now, again, 69,000 is likely going to be major resistance. If we overthrow the trend line here, again, you've got 69,000. We've now done in the resistance zone here, but again, I expect rejection. And again, everybody expects it. We've now had this breakout, and we're going to just keep going. We've not broken out. Break of the trend line was on very, very light volume. We still have a lower high, a series of lower highs and lower lows. Weekly signals are still bearish. This is a breakout, and this is so bullish. Got to change the weekly signals back to bullish. We haven't been able to do that. Warned you, parameter is likely forming a massive negative divergence here. Again, we can still go a little higher. On the 4-hour chart, we have a 13 count in play with the sequence counts, and let me just show you that in a second here, but that could complete here with the divergence if we push up into the trend line or just overthrow it. And again, maybe we inch up into 70,000 or so, times 71,000, but maybe into this trend line to test 70,000 or the high 69,000 area. But again, this rally is likely going to fail. On the 4-hour chart with our sequence counts, we got a 9 here, tried to form a 9 here, did not complete, and then right here we got up to bar 8 as well, bar 8, and then it failed, bar 8, and it failed, but we do have a 13 count in play. Now again, you can see the divergence on the RSI in the 4-hour time frame that is now playing out. So again, if we do get one more rally up, it could be up into this trend line. We could see something like that to complete it, and again complete a 13 countdown sell signal in the 4-hour time frame. We've already had a 9 count complete in the daily time frame. If I bring it up close, we can see the 8 bar. It failed. We didn't get bar 9. We started this new count to the downside, but you got bar 12 right there. Again, if we do push back up and we try to, get one more reference point of a divergence here, and we turn back up with the RSI and make a lower high, and we go a little bit higher. Again, you could complete this 13 countdown sell signal here some point early on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Could take us into the high 69,000 area, or it could take us on into the 70,000 range. 4-hour chart. Coin here. So far, the high has been 69,487, just under 69,500. If we do try to rebound back up again, and no guarantee, if we start a reversal, then that may be all she wrote. But again, if we do try to push up one more time, you can form a little divergence right here in the most recent price action on the RSI and in the daily time frame. I'm watching for is, do we now start a reversal, or do we get one more push up to test 69,000 again? Again, we hit it. Again, hang on, a little trend line, horizontal trend line moved on me here. We hit it that 69,500 area, so again, we'll be watching. But I've reached my objective target for Bitcoin. I think sellers are going to start coming in here, and so far that is correct. Topping process may not be done. We got that 9 count. Again, sometimes you get the 9 count, you go a little bit higher, and then you turn. Other times you turn immediately. We may be starting the turn now, or by a little bit more time. If we get a divergence right here and get reference point on the 4-hour chart, we'll be watching. That's all she wrote. the next rebound we get a lower high, then again, the peak may be in. Again, everybody believes Bitcoin is now broken out. And again, still in a downtrend. We still have another lower high on our hands. So that's what I'm saying. We may not exceed this peak at the 70,000 area. It may be that this is the peak here, or one more push higher into the high 69,000, low 70,000 area. But again, I told you back over at the 52,000 area. Again, I had warning signs of a bottom. We were bouncing up Bitcoin's average price. Started warning of a rally to 68 and 69,000, 68,000 area, but again, we could overthrow it and reach the 69,000 area for another test, because that was Bitcoin's peak in 2021. I warned of a sell-off here with my indicators before it happened, and then I told you about, hey, we may come down and form this bullish divergence on indicators. We did. You can see here on the RSI, you got this little class B diversions, bullish diversions, and on the 4-hour chart I talked about. And then I reaffirmed it here, and I told you again, stuck to my guns and said we were going to go up towards that 68,000 area, throw it and go to 69,000 for another test of 69,000. So again, another amazing prediction. Has told us the sell-off was never going to happen. I've been predicting the calls back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, ever since the January low of this year. Signals turned back to bullish, and then they've been going back and forth, back and forth. Signals turned bullish and at the January low, late January, and turned back to bearish. And we predicted a peak at the 72, 73,000 area. That was correct. And again, told you that we were going to get the sell-off. That was correct. We ended up dropping 23.5%. Predicted rallies back and forth, back and forth. I've talked about this. But I told you distribution is taking place over and over. Rallies are being sold. We're setting up another lower high here. The Moon Boys, they told us none of this was going to happen. We were supposed to already be at 100,000 here, 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 here. And I've been calling these moves back and forth, making amazing calls. My last one here and here with this rally. But I told you again, it's likely going to stop at the 68 to 69,000 area. If I'm wrong about that, we go a little bit higher and go to 70, 71,000, which is the overhead resistance zone. Again, I told you I did not believe we would move to new highs. Again, the rally I told you would happen to suck in the bulls before the rug pull, and I predicted the rally to create the short squeeze for the bears. So since January, the January bottom, the signals have nailed the moves back and forth. Move up off of the January lows, and then since the March peak right here, again, the choppiness back and forth, the signals continue to nail it. I've called the signals back and forth, back and forth. Sell-offs and Moon Boys, I've called the rallies, I've called the sell-offs. The Moon Boys told us the sell-offs were never going to happen. I've been making amazing calls. Again, I dare to say that I think Bitcoin's topped. My weekly signals remain bearish. And if my weekly signals turn back to bullish, I'll let you know. They're not. They're still bearish. Because Bitcoin's in a topping process, I don't want to hear that. Even though I've made these amazing calls. Long. The rally in January, off the January lows, and then after the peak here, calling the peak for 72 or 73,000, we got it. Choppiness. Back and forth. Bitcoin's down 2.67%. It is down at the low 67,000 area after reaching the 69,500 level. Again, we're still above the 10 period, but I told you again, I'm looking for this divergence to develop here on the MACD. Stochastics rolling over here. Possible head and shoulders now in the more recent price action if we go back up a little bit higher and come back down, or if we see this move just fail. And again, it might be something like this, where we turn down a little bit and then we go back up and then we come back down, and that's the end of it. It may look like this, or like over here, where again, in each of these cases you got one more little push up, and that could be the case if we still get a divergence developing here on the RSI. Again, something like what we had over here, something like what we had over here, even over here again, where we pushed a little bit higher. Again, we hit that 69,000, just under 69,500. We can go to the high 69,000 area or the low 70,000 area or so. Right now, you still have a series of lower highs, and lower lows. And again, not a convincing breakout on very, very light volume. Maybe the RSI just reaches an extreme and doesn't form a divergence, and that's why I say it could just fail here. But again, you've got the potential divergence on the MACD. But this breakout so far is very unconvincing. And volume-wise, very unconvincing. By the way, just wanted to say, one of the reasons why I predicted the rally, because of the bullish divergence I talked about at great length and detail at this lower end of the channel, and Bitcoin's average price bouncing off of Bitcoin's average price. Also, when we had the rally, I told you it was we were going to sell off with this divergence that formed on some of the indicators, like on the intraday charts, momentum indicators in the daily time frame. But we pulled back, we bounced out the 100, the 50. I told you the 50 is still below the 200. I don't think it's going to get a bullish cross. I think we're going to see this move end up failing. But right here, again, I told you I thought a divergence would develop. Well, we went to a new high, so it didn't develop there. We still have a Class B divergence on the MACD, as I showed you earlier. We still can form a divergence right here, so I'll be watching that. But I do expect, again, that the highs over here are going to hold, and I do believe Bitcoin is putting the finishing touches on a topping process with a series of lower highs diverging with the S&P 500. Nobody believes that right now. Nobody believes it's possible. Again, the people that never saw these sell-offs of distribution coming are now the people telling us, oh, it's over. You know? And again, I've called the moves back and forth. I've been bullish when the signals turned to bullish. I've been bearish when the signals have been bearish, back and forth. And off of the January lows, my signals turned back to bullish in the weekly time frame. Again, I've talked about all of these signals been right all year long. After the January rally to the March peak, again, the choppiness, they've been right all year long. Yeah, I've been predicting the sell-offs, but I've been predicting the rallies. Predicting the lower highs, but I've been predicting the lower lows. We're going to rally to 70,000. Hey, we're going to rally to 68, 69,000. Again, I really don't care which way Bitcoin goes. It can go up or down. You can make money either way. Again, I could just not tell you when the turns are happening and just, become a moon boy and just keep saying, hey, no, Bitcoin, here we go, 100,000. I could do that, okay? And have a massive following and be declared a genius for daring, for saying Bitcoin's going to go to 100,000 or 250,000. But again, I'd rather be right. I say, hey, I think Bitcoin's topping, and because I say, hey, Bitcoin's going to go down and then it's going to go back up, and I call these moves as they happen, I'm considered a heretic in the moon boy cult. You can't say things like that, and if you do, you'll be declared a heretic. Absolutely incredible. I've never seen anything like this. But I've made amazing calls. I've done a good job. I've been correct. And now the people telling us that, oh, sell-offs and distribution, it's not going to happen. They're the ones telling us it's over, as they continue to tell us every time they're wrong about these sell-offs. I've been telling you the tops and the bottoms. So I just want to make that clear. A lot of flack. Hey, I think Bitcoin peaked over here. People do not want to hear that. Again, I really don't care which way Bitcoin goes. If my weekly signals turn back to bullish and we somehow manage to dodge a recession, dollar collapses and Bitcoin will get a rally. But if that happens, does my signals turn back to bullish? I'll turn back to bullish. The signals are still bearish. Even though I've been calling these moves back and forth, amazing calls, the signals are still telling me bears are in control. That changes, but it's really hard for Bitcoin to move into a bull market with recession right around the corner. The recession indicators have already flashed. We're likely 3 to 6 months away from a recession. The thing that's suspect about this breakout, this so-called breakout that we're being told, is the volume. Okay, again, it's been on the lighter side. The breakout came with the lighter side. Look at the volume on Sunday. And the doji Saturday, again, very, very light volume over the weekend, very light volume with the breakout there on Friday. Not very convincing.